Welcome to Beneath the Surface, the space where real stories live and healing begins. I'm your host, Donovan Sykes, and here we dive deep into the layers of life, the trauma, the pain, the resilience, and the power that it takes to overcome. Whether you are healing, growing, or simply trying to make sense of it all, you're not alone. So let's go beneath the surface. And on today's episode, entitled Chasing a Feeling That Never Stays. Chasing a feeling that never stays. And what this pertains to is drug addiction. And I had to run this back. I've spoke about drug addiction so much in my life, because it was the biggest obstacle that I've ever had to overcome. It was the makeup of who I was as a human being. So it was my biggest obstacle. But I was merely chasing a feeling that was always going to be momentarily. So I had to keep supplying myself of such a thing just to even exist. And I thought back and I wondered, where did this start? Like, what was that thing in life that made this become a factor? Where did it start? Because life for me started off so beautiful, so glorious. Life was what one would dream of life to be. That's what life was. Family was strong, everybody was healthy, just happy people. What happened? Tragedy started to happen. And though we didn't receive it as tragedy in that moment because we were unaware of what life brings and the makeup of it, we then resulted into things that suppressed the reality of what we were enduring. And I think that that's where it started from. But see, it starts at the head. Somewhere it starts at the head. And when I say it starts at the head, because I was the child. And when you are a child and even a teenager and a young adult, you don't really know the makeup of life when you still have your mother and your parents around. You don't really know that. And for me, life began to become a factor when life became a factor for my mother. When my mother started to be consumed with life is when I started to become consumed with life. And the drug addiction started with her. Her coping, that's where it started from. And her not caring, because at this point, when you start or when you become addicted to something, that becomes your life. So her not really caring, it's like, I'm gonna make sure that my son is numb to this thing that I feel. And gradually it just spreaded like cancer within my family. I'm talking about it spreaded rapidly. We were all on drugs. We were all on the same drug at that. The same drug, the same pill. From my mother and her sisters to me and my cousins. We formed relationships. We formed alliances with one another. We became the pill family. Like, we became the pill family. And I'm going to just fast forward to when I began to know, like, this is a thing for me. And I was maybe in my early 20s. I'm 34 now. So I had been on pills for maybe 10 plus years. 10 plus years. And every year it became more and more of a factor for me and my family. The relationships grew stronger with one another, but only because we had the strongest thing in common. And there was our drug addiction. And I was just thinking back. I said, the only way or the only reason that I am where I am now The only reason that I have everything that I have now is simply because I've overcome my greatest obstacle. When you desire change, when you truly desire change, when they say it ain't nothing that a person can do for you if you don't want it for yourself, that's true. I don't care how far along you are in your drug addiction. Nobody can help you but you. You are the only person that can save yourself from this thing. You have to shift your mental to become to the point or the place that you desire more. And until you desire more, that is going to be your reality. That's how it started. It really started just because life started to throw so many tragedies within my family. Everything started to break apart. Everyone started to die. The family became dismantled, especially when my grandmother passed. The family became dismantled and everybody had spread apart. Everybody started living their own lives. But the thing that kept us close as a family was pills. We had the ones who were the consumers and we had the ones who were the suppliers, even within the family. It had got so bad that was all our conversations was about. We'd get up early in the morning. I'm gonna speak solely from me. I get up early in the morning and call my cousin. You got a pill man? We had pill mans everywhere. You got a pill man, who you talk to? It was a drug, but it was a feeling that I needed to feel. I was chasing that thing every day. And when I tell you that thing hindered me from a lot of great things in life, that thing was that potent that it hindered me from a lot of great things because I didn't care about nothing else. Everything that I desired was wrapped up in something so small. Your life is going to continue to be your life unless you want it to be different. You got to really want it to be different. So, wrapping this up, it all really started. And most of us, most of our addictions or drug of choice comes from suppressing something that life started. And until you decipher what that thing was, until you heal that thing, till you become aware and knowledgeable of that thing, you're going to keep suppressing that thing. But you got to figure out what it is. How did it start? Go back to the root and dig it up. That's the only way you'll heal yourself from that thing. The illusion of control. The illusion of control. When you make yourself think or feel that you are not an addict and that it's just something that you like to do. But then it becomes a dependency. You begin to depend on something that you thought you had control over. And that's the thing that we tell ourselves, I can stop when I want to. No, you can't. Because if you could, you would have been stopped. You can't. You feel like you got the control, but you don't. You depend on that. And I depended on my pills every day, all day. When I say it altered my life, where I lived, what I drive, what I wore, how I took care of myself, how I showed up for others, how I presented myself was all wrapped up into my drug addiction. Because none of those things were of importance, minute importance, but it wasn't really of importance. It wasn't of substance to me. It wasn't something that I cared about because I just wanted to feel that feeling. So don't misconstrue control for the thought of you feeling like you know what's going on with yourself when you don't. You are a dependent of your substance. And until you allow that to be your reality, until you look yourself in the mirror and say, I am an addict, you're going to continue and forever be an addict. The cycle of relapse, the shame, and the starting over, the cycle of relapse is going to be a continuous battle. When you desire something else, but you are, or something got you in a chokehold, it's going to be a continuous battle of going back and forth to this thing that makes you feel so good. Because once you have done something for so long, you don't even know what it feels like to be normal. That is your norm. So trying to take away your norm in exchange for something that you don't know what it feels like, who wants to do that? When I know this right here makes me feel good. Who wants to do that? But see, it was no shame for me when I was on pills because everyone who I was associated with were also on pills. So I'm good and I'm content because we all, birds of a feather flock together. We all coexisting in the same realm. Nobody's doing better than nobody. So you really don't care. You don't care. So it wasn't no shame to me. And honestly, though my whole family was on pills, I still was the one who was doing the best out of all of us when it just pertained to life. So I felt like I could do what I want. I could take my pills. I got my car. I got a nice apartment. I was still an addict though. And just because I was doing better than them, we still really, in a sense, were all at the same level. And the guilt comes in at knowing that you prayed and you said that this is it and you're done and you've expressed publicly about your journey of just trying to overcome, and then you fall right back into it, or you tell your pill man that you're no longer gonna come and he hear from you in another week. That's where the guilt comes in at. Like you guilty, you feel like you know better. You truly know better. But the thing about it is you gotta keep fighting it. You're gonna have to keep fighting it. Drug addiction is a beast. Whether it's weed, whether it's alcohol, whether it's cocaine, whether it's pills, all of it is the same. No drug is different from the other. It just depends on what choice of drug you need to sustain. But all of it is a mind and body altering thing to make us feel good. So no drug is greater than the other. That's where the starting over comes in at. You're just gonna have to continue to fight over and over. The more you fall, get back up and try it again. You stop for a month, try it again. You did it a week, try it again. Keep fighting that thing until you build your mental to where it needs to be. The mental battle of craving and commitment. And that kind of goes back into what I just spoke about. When you're going through the withdrawals or the detoxing stage, that's when it's going to hit you the most because you feel like I don't really got to put myself through this. I don't got to feel all of this feeling that I don't desire to feel. That's the craving. The craving is going to be like, man, look, I got runny nose, I got the shakes, I got diarrhea, I got the sweats. Why would I self-inflict myself with such a thing when I could just go get this thing that would alleviate all of that? Why would I do that to myself? That's going to be the crave. But you have to be committed to knowing. And this is how I built my mind over time. Because every time I fail, I still learned something from the time that I've tried. And I continue to apply all those things to make them become one and to make them whole to overcome this thing. It's why I say it is important to continue to try. Continue to try no matter how many times you fall. But always receive a lesson out of it. Don't allow that experience to be in vain. Receive something and apply it to the next time that you try. And when I say the craving, the craving, the things that you would do for the craving, my life was just, nobody would have ever known. Nobody would have ever known that I was on pills because you didn't see it. I didn't wear addiction. Like you're not going to see addiction on most people. But the things that it did to me in life, the things that I did to supply that habit, I could tell you some stories. I could tell you some stories. Me already being in the line of sex work, that used to be one of my main things. Sex work also was a big factor of me just supplying my drug habit. And I always say, any person with a drug habit is a dangerous person because of what they would do to feel that feel. The pride that they would have to put aside, the morals that they would have to put aside to feel that feel. I used to have sexual relations of some sort for people for maybe $50, $60. And at that time, that was a lot to me because I just wanted to feel that feel. Because that feel was worth way more than $60. So I was enduring something that wasn't favorable to me, but ultimately it would be. I never used to go on vacations because I was solely focused on, am I going to have enough money for pills? I don't care about going nowhere and seeing the world. My happiness is right here. My happiness is right here. I really didn't care about anything. Stayed in neighborhoods that I know that who I felt like I was internally. This is not where I belong, but I was there because it allowed me to save more money to get what I desired. I drove mediocre cars. I didn't take care of my cars because I needed more money to supply what it was that I desired. I remember one time I was going out of town and I had got like maybe 15 or 20 pills. I had took like 15 or 20 pills with me. And one thing I would never do was put them in my check bag. I would always have them with me. And this particular time, I had them in my pocket. No, first I had them in my carry-on. And when we got on before we boarded, I took them out of my carry-on and put them in my pocket. I'm like, I don't give a damn what happened to none of my shit. Long as I got my pills in my pocket, I'm good. So I had a connecting. It wasn't a connecting, but we had to stop somewhere else and pick up other passengers, and then we go to our final destination. So they allowed us to deboard the plane at this particular location, and I had my pills in my pocket. Some way, somehow, when we deboarded and we were waiting to reboard, I didn't feel my pills in my pocket. And you know, when you go to another location, they allow you to change your seats. So I got up and I moved my seat. I didn't feel my pills in my pocket at all. I started to panic. When we got back on the plane, I went to the seat that I was in previously and I searched. I searched for the pills, could not find them. I remember having candy papers and wrappers and bags, and they cleaned up the plane when we got off. Before we reboarded, they cleaned the plane. And so as soon as I got on, I asked one of the flight attendants, I had some of my prescription meds in a bag that was in the back of the seat. And I know you guys cleaned up. I didn't know if you threw it away. I made that lady go get the trash bag to make sure my pills was not in the trash bag. The pills were not in the trash bag. And I started to become stressed, like anxiety. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going away somewhere else. I don't have no pills. I'm just searching around. I'm like, because they were not in my pocket when I just got off. And now that I get back on, I don't see them. I'm searching. I go look back in that seat again. They fell on the side. I was on the window seat. They fell on the side down and the napkin was stuck on the side. When I say I was so relieved, I was so relieved to the fact that I had what it was that I needed. My whole vacation would have been ruined, truly ruined. I can't really say it enough. I can't really say it enough that if you truly want this, if you truly want to just live peaceful, you got to start changing some things. And one of those things is changing your surroundings. Because if you look around yourself right now, everybody who you are associated with, y'all are practically doing the same thing. Y'all are practically on the same level. See, one thing I do is surround myself with people that makes me feel like I ain't got it together. You're not surrounded by those people. That's why you're content with the life that you have. The people who I associate with has their shit together. That's the first thing you got to change. Change your surroundings. Isolate yourself and figure out what's going on and what's this thing in life that has you. What has you? Hitting rock bottom. Hitting rock bottom in my moment of realization. What was the moment for me that made that light switch flip? I remember one day, I remember two instances. One day, I was becoming older and wiser, but drugs were still a factor. You know, you could want something and continue to try, but your drug gonna be a factor, and that's what it was for me. I wanted it, so I always thought about things like, "What am I doing?" And it wasn't a factor. And one day, something was like, "Check your Cash App transactions and see how many times or how much you've spent." And I always had thought of that, but I never wanted to do it because I knew I was going to be embarrassed about it. And I was leaving the pill house on this particular day. I was on 610 in South Main to be exact. And I was leaving the pill house and I checked my transaction history with the pill man and I calculated it. And that was just on Cash App. That wasn't counting anything that I spent cash wise or other pill people that I went to when this one didn't have what I needed. It was like $3,000. $3,000. And when I say I was disgusted with myself, I was really disgusted with myself. I'm like, $3,000 and you struggling. $3,000 and you wondering why your life does not look the way that you desire it or that you envision it. You giving somebody $3,000 a month, man. And that stuck with me. That has stuck with me for so long. Like I just used to always think about this. Still going to buy pills. But that still stuck with me. This goes back to what I mentioned to you at the beginning. Every time you try, take something and just continue to apply it. So all the times that I tried to overcome it and it didn't work, I made sure I added something else that was going to continue to pile up till it got to the point where it's like, you know what, you gotta get up out of this. You really gotta get up out of this. And then I had a conversation with a cousin of mine and she called me an addict. And I had never heard those words. Um, in a sense, we know that that's what it is, but until someone acknowledges that or put that mirror in our face and we have to see it, it hits differently. And I took that so offensively. I was so angry when I heard that. And I'm like, I was cussing and everything. I ain't no addict, so on and so forth. But I was. And the truth burns. But it only burns when you haven't accepted it. And I hadn't accepted it at that point. But it burns. And that's how you know when something is true with you. Because if it's a lie, you're not bothered by something that someone says that is not factual. You're not bothered by it. But the truth sets you afire. It sets you ablaze. And there was a second thing. Amongst a host of other things, those were the two things that stood out to me. Knowing that I had spent $3,000 in 1 month, but was living the way that I was living. And for someone else to be able to see me be an addict were based off of how I moved. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And so I continued to put in the work to fight this thing. Learning that relapse doesn't erase progress. Going back to what I said, you're going to have a many of relapses. You're going to have a many of them. When I say I had tried so many different things, I thought love would have been a factor. I thought moving away would have been a factor. I thought actually cutting off people would have been a factor. I thought making more money would have been a factor. I thought all these things would have bettered the situation. But relapse is always going to be a factor, and you got to know that. You got to know that. It was times where I was at work and my team at that time knew that I was trying to overcome. So I was in my withdrawal stage and I'm just feeling bad at work at the desk, coming in the morning, laying down with a hoodie on, going to get Red Bulls, just trying to give myself some type of energy, having people to come rub me on my back, telling me I got this in a fairly warm room, but got this jacket over me because I'm cold. Or being in a relationship, being in love, and in the shower, balled up with the shower running over me, thinking that I can overcome this thing because of love. Moving to New York so I wouldn't be surrounded by, or so it wouldn't be as accessible to me. So let me move away. Only made it worse because now I'm somewhere else and now my mental is strained because I'm way over here, I'm going through this, and now it's a forceful thing. That's what relapse is going to feel like. It's going to be an over and over battle of desiring or supplying yourself of that feeling that you desire. It's why I've learned that it doesn't matter what you do. You got to want it. It doesn't matter where you run, where you go, what facility that they place you in. If you don't want it when you get out, you're going to go back to it. Something about your life has to become a purpose for you to overcome or want to overcome that. You have to see yourself in a different light. And if you don't see yourself in a different light, that's going to be your life. You got to see yourself. Unfortunately, right now, I still have family members who are still suffering from the same drug addiction. Suffering. And unfortunately, that would be their life until they see something greater for themselves. But you also got to be mindful that a lot of your relationships are solely going to be based off of just your drug habit. The only thing that you have in common is your drug habit. It's why I say you got to change your surroundings, because your drug habit is the only thing that you have in common. The minute you stop, you're going to then realize, I ain't even like you as much as I thought I did. You don't even know me as much as I thought you did. You don't know nothing about me. You don't know what I like. You don't know nothing about me. But you do know we got a drug habit in common. And that's the ultimate thing that entwines souls together, having that in common. You got to be mindful of that. You got to be mindful of the relationship that comes from only the drug habit in itself. Only. I don't even see some of my family members in the flesh because I no longer do pills. And I used to see them almost every day. Even the ones who I had great relationships with who didn't take pills but sold them, and I had to go over there and buy them. I can't remember the last time I seen one of my cousins, and I was always out there in the hood, sitting in the grass on the porch talking because I'm happy. I'm going over here to get something. And you also supplying me of something. So you getting my money, I'm getting my drug. We both happy. You making money, I'm happy, I'm taking the pills. So we got something to talk about. What is there really to talk about now? I would hope that we could have conversations outside of that, but it's out of sight, out of mind type of thing. So you got to really choose yourself over the substance. If the substance is more important than what you desire for yourself, a person is going to be able to see it. They're going to be able to see it. So choose yourself. I just really, really, really encourage you, man. Fight it. Like, fight it. And I'm trying to talk to you in a way that my mind was at that time. It's a fight. It is a fight, man. Trying to get over to the other side. But I promise you that the level of peace that comes from overcoming that thing, I promise you it feels better on the other side. Being able to take care of yourself properly, being able to see the world, life not being a stress factor because things that are of importance, you handle those things. I promise you it's better over here. Chasing that feeling that don't stay, That thing don't stay. After you smoke and that high goes down, back to life, back to reality. After you take that pill and that high goes down, back to life, back to reality. You got to continue to take these things. But overcoming, it's an everlasting high. This high that I'm on is everlasting. Now, I'm not oblivious to life obstacles just because I've overcome one of my greatest. But I'm just simply saying, even when those come, those unforeseen circumstances, I'm still okay because I've set myself up for that. Just imagine you being on drugs and that's consuming everything that you have when it pertains to your finances, and then life happens on top of that. You really stressed out. Now you got to go take more pills. Now more of your money is going there. So now the thing that you had to handle, you don't even handle that because that became another factor for you. You see how the cycle continues if you don't cut it off at the head? It's going to continue to repeat itself. It's going to continue. I ain't gonna read off these cards anymore. I just want to say to you, whoever you are, it can be done. It can be done. One thing I do say is forcing yourself to do it won't work. You have to truly desire it in your heart. You have to desire a better life for yourself. Because you can try everything in this world. And if your soul don't desire it, it ain't never going to work. That's why even with anything in life, when people talk to me about life tragedies and things that happen, you're there because you're there. Because if you desire change, you will do it. I don't want to hear nothing about no complaining. Don't come to me complaining about nothing unless you really want it. Unless you really want it. But let me also inform you that never trust no one who has a drug addiction. Because drug addicts have no loyalty. It's no loyalty when one is trying to supply themselves of a high. It's no loyalty. Two, a man will sell his soul, his flesh, and all his limbs to supply himself of his drug habit. Straight man and all. They'll do a lot of things to supply themselves that feeling that they desire, that's suppressing what their reality is. I've accepted everything about me, so I don't need anything to cope with what I already understand. You see that? You trying to make sense of your life and cope with it at the same time. My life is made sense of. I'm not coping with anything. I understand the makeup of all of this. It's also why I'm here. But you know what I am grateful about? That the drug addiction was given to me, but I've overcome it in front of the eyes of all of you. In the line of sex work and me doing everything that I do, something that affects the masses of the people I've overcome. So I'm more relatable to you than you know. You think you on my page right now, to the ones who follow me on Twitter or on X or whatever, you think you're on my page to satisfy your flesh, but you're on my page to satisfy what your soul desires. That's why you're here. But that's also why I was given the drug addiction, because God knows or knew that I was going to overcome, and He knew that I was going to share how to. That's why I am where I am. You got to really overcome this thing if you want to live a better life. It's really no excuse, though. It's really no excuse. Live how you want to live. And if that's how you live it, that's because that's how you want to live. Anybody who wants better is going to do it. And they're going to invest every penny in it, every mental. They're going to invest it because that's what they desire. A message to others that are struggling. This was basically my whole message. This whole message was to everybody that's struggling is that you're not alone, but surround yourself with people who are doing better than you, people who hold you accountable, people who feed life into you. And you're going to have to cut off family, friends, and sometimes maybe the person that you are married to, if that's also what y'all have in common. You have to change your inner circle. I mean, you have to do a clean sweep. Also, don't force it mentally. Build your mind up mentally, but don't force it. Allow your soul to become where your mind is and allow them two things to be aligned. And then your transition of overcoming your addiction will be peaceful and easy. But if those two things are not on the same accord, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Your soul can desire it all it wants. But if your mind still says, this is what I'm going to get, your mind is going to overrule. Those two things have to be aligned. And last but not least, even when you fall, continue to get back up and start over again. Don't let your failures deter you from feeling like that it's capable of being done. Don't let that be a thing for you. I fought it for many years, and it don't come off the back. Like you just can't. You can make up in your mind that, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. It don't come off the back. I fought this thing for years. Years. I've been in this position that I've been in right now for almost 3.5 years, going on maybe 4 years of being this guy that I am right now. And I'm 34. So just say from 20 to 30, or from just say 20 to 30. Just imagine 10 years of my life, the most pivotal moments in my life. Imagine those, me not even knowing and not being aware because I was suppressing it with something. So now when I'm in my 30s, I'm trying to figure out all of this. It's up to you. It's really up to you. All of this is up to you. Nobody's holding your hand anymore. Nobody's pacifying you. You're grown and you are an adult. If you don't want better for yourself, you just don't want better for yourself. But stop placing your burdens on other people because you don't want better for yourself. Overcome the drug habit. And if it ain't a drug habit, whatever is a habit of yours that is allowing you to live a stressful life, you have to overcome it. That's it. That's all life is about. And it's a many of you. I can look at people's lives right now. I can look at how they live, how they move, and determine if they got a drug habit or not, or if they got some type of habit. I could just go in your house and tell if something is consuming your livelihood, if something is consuming all of your finances, all of your resources. I can tell that just based off of how you move. Now, granted, I'm going to be very transparent. I smoke and I drink. The only difference is it's not something that I require. I could do it just because that's something that I want to do. My mind is so strong that I don't need to become a dependent of nothing in this world because I depend on me. I don't depend on a substance to make me become who I know I am already. I hope you receive this in the way that it definitely was intended to be delivered. I really hope that you pull yourself together. I really hope that you pull yourself together. I really hope that this is not something that you have to endure for the rest of your life. Because I tell you, it ain't the life to live. Being 60 and 70 and trying to figure out how you're going to eat or where you're going to live or who's going to take care of you. Because when you were 30, you couldn't figure it out. You better figure it out now. I feel like I'm cross-eyed because I took my glasses off because now I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking. Let me put these back on. Yeah. But you better figure it out. You better figure it out. And that's what's so important to me in life. I ain't stressed out about this right here. I ain't stressed out about my 30s and my 40s. I'm stressed out about when I get 60, when I ain't able to do what it is that I'm doing right now to provide for myself. That's what I'm stressed out about. You better let that shit go. And I say that with conviction. You better let it go. But you love it there. You love it there. And that's the sad part. You love it there. I pray that God aligns your mind with your soul and that you have the willpower to sustain even in the midst of any storm. I pray that you have the willpower. I pray that you continue to put the mirror in your face and tell yourself who you see and what you see in that moment, but also feed yourself what your soul desires as you look in the mirror. I pray that you have the strength to walk away from people who are not serving you. I pray that you cut off people that you feel obligated to. You don't owe anyone anything, and you're not here to save no one but yourself. My cup runneth over. What comes out of the cup is for you, and what's in the cup is for me. I pray that your cup is full. And I pray whatever your drug of choice is, that God relinquishes it from your spirit. I truly pray that for you. It's an amazing feeling to be on the other side. It's truly an amazing feeling. And anyone that encounters me or anyone that's in my life, this is all that I'm about. Peace is all that I'm about. And I pinpoint everything in my life that disrupts such a thing and I fix it. Even before it gets to that point, I fix it. Family, friends, jobs, relationships, any encounter, self-inflicted things, I fix those things before they create a level of uncertainty for me. I'm going to wrap this up. I love you. You can do it. I got faith in you. If you don't believe in you, I believe in you. I've did it. Though it took me a many years, I've did it. And I hope that I can lead by example in some sort. I hope that you can receive something from this that will potentially elevate who you are. I hope that my message is not misconstrued based off of what I also present when it pertains to my life. I hope you receive and get from me what you need. I hope you receive this in the way it definitely was intended to be delivered. Until next time on Beneath the Surface.